My name is Brooke, and I navigate through a life that appears quite typical. During the day, I serve as a dental assistant, a role that demands accuracy, compassion, and a soft approach. In our home, my husband Scott, a dedicated software engineer, often finds himself immersed in the intricate world of code. Meanwhile, our playful golden retriever, Harley, brings an abundance of joy and warmth to our lives. In our snug abode on the fringes of town, the serene lanes are adorned with ancient oaks, and a friendly wave from a neighbor brings a touch of warmth to the day. Life unfolded in a way that felt certain cozy and I believed satisfying. Yet, hidden beneath this facade of everyday life, a tempest was gathering, one that would rattle the core of our shared existence. Whispers of change lingered in the air, reminiscent of the delicate aroma of smoke that hints at an impending blaze. Scott would often find himself glued to his phone, his gaze shifting away the moment I walked into the room. Initially, I brushed it off as the usual pressures of work, the sort that arises from looming deadlines and troubleshooting issues. Yet there were those late nights, the mysterious disappearances, and the sudden unexplainable tension that lingered in the atmosphere like a heavy mist. One evening, while I was in the midst of preparing dinner, the quiet was suddenly pierced by Harley's bark, strikingly sharp and unrelenting. As I peered through the kitchen window, I noticed Scott's car making its way into the driveway, accompanied by someone else. A silhouette emerged from the passenger side, cloaked in the fading glow of twilight. My heart raced, not out of fear, but from a sudden chilling awareness that something was off. I observed Scott and the unfamiliar figure engaging in conversation, their movements lively, their voices a mere whisper beyond the glass. My imagination surged with scenarios, each one more disconcerting than the previous. Who was it? An associate, a customer, or perhaps something darker lurking in the shadows? The stranger turned, and in that brief instant our gazes intertwined. A chill lingered in the air, an unsaid dare that sent a tremor through me. That night, the dinner unfolded in a serene and tranquil manner. Scott seemed lost in thought, his attention drifting far away. I attempted to draw him in to bring him back to our reality, but he resembled a vessel adrift in a mist beyond my grasp. The meal lost its warmth, our dialogue faltered, and a weighty silence settled around us, filled with unasked questions. Later, as I lay in bed, the darkness of the room wrapped around me, each shadow whispering of untold tales waiting to be uncovered. Scott's breathing flowed like a calm river while my thoughts swirled in a chaotic storm. As I glanced his way, the gentle light from the street lamp outside cast a warm glow on his features. In that place, a calmness enveloped everything, yet it seemed almost too good to be true. The following morning, I awoke to discover that Scott had already left, leaving his side of the bed chilly and untouched. The house resonated with a sense of emptiness, hollow echo as if the walls themselves were pausing in anticipation. As I navigated through the familiar steps of my morning, each movement felt automatic while my mind wandered to distant places. At work, my hands danced with familiarity, yet my thoughts drifted to the events of the night before, sifting through memories in search of hidden meanings. The hours meandered, each tick of the clock unfolding like a tale that seemed never ending. As I stepped back into my home, a hush enveloped the space, broken only by Harley's joyful welcome. Scott had yet to return. As I glanced at my phone, the screen remained silent, devoid of any messages or calls. The quiet hung heavily in the air, a poignant reflection of the widening gap that had come to define our connection. That evening, I chose to face the discomfort directly. As I sat in the living room, the lights softly dimmed, I found myself waiting for Scott. The only sound accompanying me was the rhythmic ticking of the clock. As he stepped through the threshold, his face told a tale of astonishment, maybe even a hint of remorse. "Brooke, you're still awake?" he inquired, his tone attempting to sound casual. "We need to talk," I said, my voice unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. He settled into his seat, the distance between us stretching out like an endless divide. As I inhaled deeply, the carefully crafted phrases I had practiced throughout the day began to flow effortlessly from my lips. Who was that person last night? Why are you coming home late so often? What's going on, Scott? His expression shifted, revealing a glimpse of the chaos hidden beneath. He parted his lips to respond, but the words seemed to weigh him down, forcing him to close them again. I I've been dealing with something at work, he eventually murmured, his tone barely above a whisper. It's complicated, Brooke. I didn't want to worry you. Yet his words hung in the air like a delicate veil insufficient to hide the deeper reality beneath. I sensed there was a wealth of untold truths waiting just beyond the shadows. The storm I had sensed brewing was now upon us, and I could feel the first drops of rain, cold and relentless, beginning to fall. Will Brooke's perfect life unravel? Keep your ears open for what comes next. Once upon a time, the day began just like any other. As I went about my morning routine, I brewed a fresh pot of coffee and carefully packed Scott's lunch. Setting the stage for the day ahead, Harley was filled with excitement, ready to embark on his morning adventure. As I ventured outside with Harley, the brisk morning air greeted us a refreshing change from the cozy embrace of our home. Our journey led us across the vibrant college campus, a familiar path that brought me closer to the clinic where I spent my days. In the stillness of the campus, a serene hush enveloped the grounds as students lingered in the embrace of slumber or attended to the early whispers of their classes. Harley, with an insatiable curiosity, guided me to a hidden corner of the campus, a quaint grove tucked away behind the library. The grove was a serene refuge, a setting where whispers could dance through the air and fade away amidst the gentle rustle of the leaves. I released Harley from his leash, and he dashed into the underbrush, his tail wagging with excitement. I moved quietly, my footsteps soft, my thoughts weighed down by the memories of the night before. The grove appeared to pause in time, sensing the inner chaos that stirred within me. As I ventured further, the bustling sounds of the campus gradually diminished, giving way to the gentle melodies of birds and the subtle whispers of wildlife stirring around me. In this quiet place, I stumbled upon something intriguing, a small, time worn journal partially hidden beneath a blanket of leaves. With a spark of intrigue, I reached for it, gently wiping away the grime. The cover may have seemed unremarkable, yet within its pages lay a tapestry of handwriting, a dance of elegance intertwined with urgency. I turned the pages, each entry marked with a date but lacking a year, recounting gatherings in this fairy grove of whispers exchanged beneath the veil of night. The entries were enigmatic, hinting at a clandestine assembly known as the Whisperers, who gathered to deliberate on subjects too sensitive for the daylight. My heart raced as I delved into the tale of their last encounter, where a new figure emerged, shrouded in mystery, yet the description sent chills down my spine. Echoing the essence of Scott, the journal tumbled from my grasp as Harley reappeared, his bark resonating through the grove, drawing me back to the present moment. With a swift motion, I grasped it, my hands quivering with anticipation. Is it possible that Scott has a role in this situation? The idea danced on the edge of fear and ridiculousness. As I pondered the situation, the fragments began to align perfectly: the late nights, the hushed phone conversations, the unfamiliar figure lurking in our driveway. I slipped the journal into my bag, choosing to hold onto it as a piece of evidence, or maybe as a hint to decode the enigma surrounding my existence. With Harley by my side, we departed from the grove, the journal's weight pressing down in my back, its secrets now woven into my journey. The remainder of the stroll passed quietly, yet my mind danced with a flurry of reflections. At work, I found myself going through the motions, my hands busy with tasks while my mind wandered to distant places. Every patient's smile, every routine checkup seemed like a mask, hiding the turmoil swirling inside me. As the clock struck noon, I found myself in the quiet solitude of the break room, the journal resting before me on the table, inviting me to delve into its pages. I found it impossible to hold back. I delved into it once more, absorbing additional entries, whispers of schemes, of bonds forged in trust, and the shadows of treachery danced in their words. With each page I turned, I found myself uncovering a hidden realm that thrived just beneath the calm facade of our unassuming town. The afternoon unfolded slowly with each passing minute, feeling like a tale that lingered on forever. Upon my arrival back home, the atmosphere was quiet except for the warm welcome from Harley, who was bursting with excitement. Scott had yet to return. As I glanced at my phone, the screen remained silent, devoid of any messages or calls. The quiet hung heavily in the air, a poignant reflection of the widening gap that had formed between us. That evening, I chose to face the discomfort directly. As I sat in the living room, the lights softly dimmed, I found myself waiting for Scott. The only sound accompanying me was the gentle ticking of the clock. As he stepped through the threshold, his face told a tale of astonishment, maybe even a hint of remorse. "Brooke, you're still awake?" he inquired, attempting to sound casual. "We have something to discuss," I replied, my tone unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. He took a seat, and the distance between us seemed to stretch into an abyss. I inhaled deeply, letting the carefully crafted phrases spill forth like a river of thoughts I had shaped throughout the day. "Who was that person last night? Why are you coming home late so often? What's going on, Scott?" His expression shifted, the facade cracking just enough for me to glimpse the chaos underneath. He parted his lips to respond, but then shut them again, as if the words were burdens too great to bear. There's been something on my mind at work," he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "Life has its twists and turns, Brooke. I didn't want to cause you any concern, but his explanation seemed like a thin veil hardly hiding the reality beneath. I was aware that there was something deeper, much deeper, waiting just beyond the surface. The tempest I had felt approaching was now here, and I could sense the initial drops of rain, chilling and unyielding, starting to descend. What tales lie within the depths of this concealed grove? Stay tuned to uncover more. The grove was enveloped in a profound stillness, silence that seemed to pulse with life, embracing me as I sat there. The journal feeling heavy in my grasp. Harley, unaware of the tempest swirling inside me, frolicked with glee, his cheerful barks a vivid counterpoint to the chaos in my thoughts. In a burst of playful energy, Harley sent me tumbling to the ground. I chuckled, the ridiculousness of the moment briefly dispelling the dark fog of doubt and anxiety. As I reclined in that moment, time appeared to stretch, with every leaf's whisper and every bird's song transforming into a vivid tapestry of sound. In that fleeting instant of openness, an unimaginable event unfolded. My laughter transformed into a gasp as an unusual sensation washed over me, blending shock and confusion in a bewildering dance. I found myself overwhelmed by a wave of emotional confusion while Harley played nearby, a moment that made me question my sense of self and loyalty to Scott. I snapped out of the moment, adrenaline kicking in, and realized I needed to center myself and face the deeper emotional wounds within me. How did things spiral so far? The grove, once a peaceful retreat, now felt like the stage of my own emotional collapse. I felt an urgent need to break free, to flee from the burden of my choices. As I strolled back to the campus, the journal nestled in my bag seemed to radiate heat, a persistent nudge of the untold tales I now held within. Upon returning home, the stillness weighed heavily in the air. Scott had yet to return, and the silence of the house mirrored the void I carried within me. I found myself in the living room, the journal resting on the coffee table before me, its pages unfolding like a map to a realm I was reluctant to explore. The entries revealed gatherings, hushed dialogues beneath the cloak of darkness of a collective whose deeds were enveloped in mystery. Every word I encountered drew me deeper into a maze where the path to freedom remained elusive. The haunting vision of Scott alongside an unfamiliar face lingered in my mind, the chilling gaze of the stranger etched into my memory. Did he belong to this group? The idea danced between fear and the ridiculous. As I pondered over it, the fragments began to align perfectly: the late nights, the hushed phone conversations, the mysterious disappearances. My mind was a tempest of ideas, each more disquieting than the one before. It was time to face Scott, yet I found myself hesitating, burdened by a secret that weighed heavily on my conscience, one that seemed to undermine the very foundation of our promises and the trust we had built together. The door creaked open and Scott entered, his expression heavy with exhaustion and concern. He gazed at me, a spark of astonishment dancing in his eyes as he took in the soft glow around us and my serious demeanor. Brooke, are you still awake? His voice danced lightly, yet it bore the heavy burden of untold tales. We need to have a conversation, I stated, my voice unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. He took a seat, and the distance between us loomed like an endless divide. I inhaled deeply, letting the carefully crafted phrases spill forth like a river of thoughts I had prepared for this moment. Who was that figure from last night? What's the reason behind your frequent late arrivals home? Hey, Scott, what's the latest chapter in your life? His expression shifted, the facade faltering just enough for me to glimpse the chaos underneath. He parted his lips to share his thoughts, yet they fell silent as if the weight of his unspoken tales held him back. I've been navigating a situation at work, he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. It's a tale woven with complexity, Brooke. I hope to keep you at ease. Yet his explanation seemed like a delicate veil struggling to hide the reality beneath. There was an undeniable sense that deeper tales awaited, hidden just beyond the horizon. The tempest I had foreseen was now crashing down, and I could feel the initial drops of rain, icy and unyielding, starting to descend. I longed to share with him the tale of the journal, to unveil my discovery, yet the words remained trapped in my throat. How could I face him with the weight of my own guilt looming over me like a shadow? Instead, I expressed to Scott, I require your honesty. No matter what challenges arise, we will navigate them side by side. He gazed into my eyes as if seeking the hidden truths that lay beneath the surface. Trust me, Brooke. I'll share all the details with you shortly. All I need is a moment. The quiet lingered in the air, heavy with the unspoken tales we carried within us. I nodded, my silence echoing the chaos inside me. As he prepared to depart, I extended my hand, our fingers brushing against each other. My dear Scott, I hold deep affection for you, yet it's essential for us to embrace honesty in our relationship. He squeezed my hand, a quiet recognition of the bond we had just forged without words. As he turned to leave, I sensed an expanding chasm between us, not merely in physical space, but in the bonds of trust and comprehension that once connected us. Once more in solitude, I reached for the journal, its pages serving as a reflection of my inner turmoil, revealing the disarray of my choices, the trepidation of my revelations, and the challenging journey that lay before me. How might I navigate the aftermath of my surprising choices? How shall we journey through this tempest of hidden truths and deception? The grove, the journal, my moment of vulnerability with Harley. All these were now strands woven into the narrative of our disintegrating existence. As I lingered in the shadows of the night, a sense of inevitability washed over me. The truths I yearned for loomed ahead, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that their revelation would demand a price, one that our delicate existence might struggle to withstand. The remainder of the day unfolded like a hazy dream. At work, I felt like a mere shadow of myself moving through the day on autopilot while my thoughts wandered back to that moment, cycling through it endlessly. Every patient's smile, every routine checkup seemed like a mask hiding the turmoil that was stirring inside me. My hands worked from muscle memory, but my mind was lost in the depths of the grove and the confusion of my recent thoughts. A haunting sensation lingered, as if I had stepped over a threshold that should never have been crossed. It felt like I had let down not only Scott, but also my own self, our union, and all that we had created together. The weight of remorse wrapped around me, tightening with every inhale. As the clock struck noon, I sat in the break room, solitude wrapping around me like a warm blanket. The journal resting invitingly on the table before me, I revisited it, diving deeper into the entries. They wove tales of ambitions, of bonds forged in trust, and of treachery lurking in the shadows. With each page I turned, I discovered a hidden realm that seemed to pulse just beneath the calm facade of our unassuming town. The words on the pages resonated with the chaos within me. In the shadow, hushed tones danced around me, mirroring the hidden truth I now bore within. The journal served as a window into my soul, revealing the tumult of my choices, the trepidation of my revelations, and the challenging journey that lay before me. The afternoon lingered, every minute unfolding like a tale that seemed to last forever. Upon my return home, the stillness enveloped me, broken only by Harley's joyful welcome. Scott had yet to return. As I glanced at my phone, I found it silent. No messages, no calls to break the stillness. The quiet hung heavily in the air, a vivid illustration of the widening gap that had formed between us. That evening, I chose to face the discomfort directly. As I sat in the dimly lit living room, the soft ticking of the clock filled the silence, and I found myself waiting for Scott. As he stepped through the threshold, his face told a tale of astonishment, maybe even a hint of remorse. "Brooke, you're still awake?" he inquired, attempting to mask his concern with a casual tone. "We have something important to discuss." I replied, my voice unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. He settled into his seat, and the distance between us loomed like an unbridgeable divide. I inhaled deeply, letting the carefully crafted phrases I had practiced all day spill forth. "Who was that person last night? Why do you keep coming home late? What's really happening, Scott?" His expression shifted, the facade cracking just enough for me to glimpse the chaos underneath. He parted his lips to share his thoughts, yet hesitated as if the weight of his words was too much to bear. I've been facing some challenges at work," he eventually murmured, his tone soft. "Nearly a secret. Life has its twists and turns, Brooke. I didn't want to worry you." Yet his words seemed like a thin veil, hardly hiding the reality beneath. I was aware that there was something deeper, something significant waiting in the shadows. The tempest I had felt approaching was now here, and I could sense the initial drops of rain, chilling and unyielding, starting to descend. I wanted to share with him the journal to reveal my discovery, but the words caught in my throat. How could I face him with my own guilt looming over me like a dark cloud? Instead, I said, "Scott, I need you to be honest with me. No matter what comes our way, we'll tackle it side by side." He gazed into my eyes as if seeking the hidden truth within them. "I promise, Brooke, I'll explain everything soon. Just give me a little time." The silence lingered, heavy with unspoken truths. I nodded, my thoughts swirling, unable to articulate the chaos inside me. As he prepared to depart, I extended my hand, our fingers brushing together. "I love you, Scott, but we must be truthful with one another." He tightened his grip, a quiet recognition of the unvoiced agreement we had just forged. As he turned to leave, I sensed a widening gap, not merely in physical space, but in the bonds of trust and understanding that once connected us. Once more in solitude, I reached for the journal, its pages serving as a reflection of my inner turmoil, echoing the disorder of my choices, the trepidation of my revelations, and the challenging journey that lay before me. How might I navigate the aftermath of my surprising choices? How might we journey through this tempest of hidden truths and deception? The grove, the journal, and my emotional breakdown in Harley's presence, all these became threads in the unraveling story, in the intricate fabric of our unfolding journey. As I lingered in that moment, the night wrapping itself around me like a cloak, I sensed that the truths I yearned for would demand a price. A price that could prove too steep for our delicate existence to withstand. Will Brooke reveal her hidden truth? Discover what unfolds in the upcoming chapter. Asterisk, the following day, I resolved that I could no longer bear the weight of the hidden truth. I felt compelled to share with Scott, to release the weight I carried, even if it signaled the conclusion of our union. As we sat around the table, I inhaled deeply and started to share my tale. "Scott, I have a tale to share with you." The words weighed heavily on my tongue. As I shared the tale, Scott's expression shifted from worry to bewilderment and finally settled into sheer terror. His reaction was a profound stillness, a stillness that resonated more powerfully than any shout I observed the moment his complexion faded, the fork slipping from his grasp and landing with a sharp sound against the plate. The atmosphere around us grew dense, laden with the gravity of my revelation. My eyes were glued to the table, following the intricate patterns in the wood as if they held the key to a different reality, a way to escape this moment that felt too heavy to bear. Brooke, he finally murmured, his voice a soft echo in the stillness. I'm at a loss for words. I raised my gaze to his, hoping to find a hint of understanding or forgiveness. Yet all I encountered was a tempest of feelings, each one beyond my grasp. I truly apologize. Scott, it was never my intention for things to unfold this way. In that fleeting instant, I found myself lost, overwhelmed by uncertainty, and the weight of guilt has lingered ever since. He rose suddenly, the chair sliding back with a jarring sound that echoed in the room. I need some time, he said, his voice heavy with emotion. I must take a moment to reflect. I nodded, emotions swirling within me, but I managed to keep them at bay. It felt unjust to shed tears, especially since I was the one who had broken the bond we shared. Scott stepped out of the kitchen. His footsteps waited, leaving me behind with the traces of our meal and the lingering sound of his exit. The night unfolded every minute, feeling like a tale that lingered forever. I tidied the kitchen, a simple chore that stood in sharp relief to the chaos within my soul. Each clink of the dishes and every splash of water echoed through the stillness that had come to envelop our home. Upon Scott's return, his expression was a mystery. He occupied the seat opposite me at the kitchen table, the space between us stretching out like an endless journey. Brooke, I've been reflecting. He began, his tone steady yet far away. I seek to uncover the reasons behind this. What led to this occurrence? I inhaled deeply, the atmosphere around me sharp and piercing, as if it were composed of fragile glass. It was after I stumbled upon that journal. Scott the Grove held its mysteries, and I found myself utterly captivated by them. It seemed as though you were drifting from me, as if our shared moments were fading into the darkness. In that moment with Harley, it felt as if I was searching for something genuine, something I could truly grasp and keep close. His gaze, once locked onto the table, now found its way to mine. Probing and curious, so did you uncover it? Did it bring you some comfort? Absolutely not. I confessed that my voice was trembling. It turned the situation into a tale of despair. I experienced a deeper sense of solitude, a greater feeling of being adrift. I let us down, Scott, and I deeply regret it. He let out a deep, tired breath. There are some things I've held back from you as well, Brooke. Experiences I believed I could navigate by myself. Perhaps I misjudged the situation. The atmosphere transformed, brimming with the promise of untold tales. Share with me, I implored, yearning for a connection, for a thread to weave our worlds together. It's about the mysterious figure you encountered. He started, his voice soft and inviting. He's a member of a team that I joined at work. They refer to themselves as the Whisperers. They navigate the shadows, weaving tales of knowledge whispers, and let's just say not everything is above board. I wanted to shield you from the chaos I found myself in. My heart felt heavier. Not only had I turned my back on our vows, but now I was confronted with the truth of Scott's hidden existence. Why didn't you share that with me? I believed I could mend it, shielding you from the chaos, yet it runs deeper than I ever imagined. Right now, they hold the upper hand. Brooke, I ventured far into this journey. The atmosphere was thick, as if the very walls were leaning in, enveloping us in their grasp. We must find a way to escape this, Scott united. We must not allow hidden truths to bring about our downfall. He nodded, his expression a blend of acceptance and a glimmer of optimism. I desire that as well, however, the journey ahead will be challenging. They're the type of individuals who linger in your thoughts long after you've parted ways. We lingered in quietude, the gravity of our revelations suspended in the air around us. The journey ahead was shrouded in mystery, filled with peril and unknowns. For the first time since discovering that journal, a flicker of connection with Scott, emerged a mutual weight that could perhaps guide us back to one another. With a gentle whisper, I leaned over the table, my fingers brushing against his hand as I expressed my feelings for you, Scott. And I want to champion our journey for the life we share. He grasped my hand, a simple act yet rich with significance. My feelings for you are just as strong, Brooke. Let's embark on this journey side by side. As the night deepened, we gathered around weaving tales, crafting plans, and unveiling our deepest fears. The path before us seemed intimidating, yet we found comfort in each other's presence as we journeyed forward. We had one another, and perhaps, just perhaps, that would be sufficient to navigate the tempest we had both set in motion in our lives. In the days that followed, our home transformed into a vivid tapestry of feelings. Scott left his gaze averted from me and Harley burdened by sorrow. In solitude, I found myself wrestling with my choices, embarking on a journey of self discovery through therapy to unravel the reasons behind my actions. Harley, feeling the shift in the air, retreated into himself. My life, once a straightforward journey, had transformed into a captivating tale of unexpected twists on the path to redemption. I realized the journey ahead was not only about mending my bond with Scott, but also about rediscovering who I truly am. The adventure was only starting, and the road ahead was shrouded in mystery, yet I was resolute in my quest to rediscover a sense of normalcy, or at the very least, tranquility. It all began with a journey into therapy. Dr. Ellis, with her serene presence and insightful inquiries, led me on a journey through the intricate maze of my own mind. Each session unfolded like a narrative revealing the raw, painful truths I had buried deep within. I seek to uncover the reasons behind my actions. One afternoon, I shared with her my voice, just a soft murmur. There's more to the narrative than just Scott. It's a journey of self discovery, reflecting on the person I've evolved into. Dr. Ellis nodded her gaze, warm yet insightful. Grasping what drives you is essential, Brooke. Let's delve into the journey that brought you to that pivotal moment. We explored the chapters of my life, the shadows of my fears, the whispers of my insecurities. I shared tales of the grove, the journal, and the deep sense of betrayal that washed over me from Scott's hidden truths. In that instant with Harley, it felt like I had emerged from a shadow yearning for something genuine, something to anchor me in a reality that seemed to be fading into the distance. As I spoke, it dawned on me how my actions were a frantic reach for power, a misguided effort to regain something I believed had slipped away. Yet comprehension did not wash away the burden of remorse. If anything, it made it more vivid, more tangible. Meanwhile, Scott's absence created an emptiness in our home that echoed with unspoken tales. The stillness weighed heavily, resonating with the remnants of our joyful moments and the specters of our collective aspirations. I longed for the man I once knew, not the unfamiliar figure he had turned into, cloaked in the darkness of his hidden truths. One evening, as I found myself in solitude with a warm cup of tea, the phone suddenly rang. It was Scott, the one who always had the tale to share. His voice wavered, filled with uncertainty. Hey, Brooke, do you have a moment to chat? My heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of anticipation and fear. Indeed, I was able to express that. We gathered at a cozy little cafe, a familiar spot where our adventures often unfolded. The warmth of it wrapped around me like an old tale, evoking a mix of joy and sorrow. Scott appeared transformed, his face more gaunt, his eyes reflecting a burden that seemed new to him. I've been pondering, he began, his fingers anxiously gliding along the edge of his coffee cup. Let us share our journey, recounting the events that unfolded. I nodded, my hands intertwined in my lap, a silent witness to the unfolding narrative. I've been reflecting quite a bit as well. He inhaled deeply, gathering his thoughts. I've been sharing my thoughts with someone. Seeking to navigate my role in this journey, I've come to understand that I created distance between us not only through my hidden truths, but also through my lack of presence. The revelation struck me like a thunderclap, shaking the very core of my feelings. Scott, I deeply regret my actions. It felt like a misstep, and I've been reflecting on how I allowed it to unfold. He fixed his eyes on me, a fire burning within them. I understand, Brooke. and I regret it as well for my absence, for not having the faith to confide in you about my struggles. We shared tales for hours, the cafe gradually emptying around us. In that moment, we found ourselves weaving a tapestry of words after weeks of silence. Each thread an apology, an explanation, and a cautious journey toward healing. I want to give it another shot, Scott declared, at last his tone resolute. However, we must embrace total openness. All will be revealed. I nodded, a sense of hopeful anticipation stirring within me. I've been on a journey with therapy, Scott. I'm on a journey of self discovery, exploring the reasons behind my choices. Let us embark on a journey of healing side by side. The days that came after were filled with challenges. Scott returned, yet the atmosphere was heavy with echoes of our former missteps. We embarked on a journey together, discovering the art of communication, the importance of listening, and the path to restoring trust. It felt as though I was embarking on a journey of rediscovery, each step filled with hesitation yet essential to the path ahead. Harley appeared to feel the change in the air, his tail wagged with renewed vigor, his playful spirit reawakening, as if he sensed the storm was finally fading away. One evening, as we nestled together on the couch, Scott looked at me with a spark in his eyes. Brooke, I've been pondering the tales that linger in the air. Stepping away won't be an easy journey, but it's a path I must take. As I grasped his hand, a gentle warmth radiated from his skin, intertwining with my own. We'll navigate this journey side by side no matter the challenges ahead. The journey before us was filled with trials and tribulations. Scott found himself entangled in a perilous situation, while I pressed on with my quest for understanding and redemption. For the first time in ages, we found ourselves confronting these challenges together as a united front. Will Brooke uncover the path to healing and tranquility? Her journey unfolds with each passing moment. Asterisk, asterisk. If you found this tale captivating, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. This will assist us in crafting more captivating narratives for you.